Hello everyone, welcome back to thebraingrain. Happy to have you back, and in this video we are going to talk about the cone of learning. So we know that learning is something very important and it has to be throughout our life. We are going to see 6 different ways of learning, and what is the impact, the amount of content that we learn, that we remember, varies based on how we learn. There are several ways of learning, like reading, listening to lectures, presentations, through simulation. So in the first category, we remember 90% of what we say and do. So the examples are doing the real thing, simulating the real experience, doing a dramatic presentation. So doing the real thing. So whenever we are being taught, say, an experiment during our school days, or even now, whenever we do experiment or a research, when we do the actual thing, we tend to remember more. And the second one is simulation. So when it comes to VR, for example, whenever we play a VR game, we actually feel like we are in the actual situation. The experience level and content, how long we remember, is more during the simulated experience. And the next category is into 70% of what we say. So whatever we say, 70% are tend to be remembered. Say when we are giving a talk or when we are participating in a discussion. So whatever we talk is already stored somewhere inside our brain. So what we think is what we talk. Whenever we talk or whenever we give a speech or a longer discussion, we tend to remember 70% of whatever we have delivered. So on a regular basis, we need to give talks and participate in discussions and meetings. The third one is 50% of what we hear and see. Examples are seeing it done on location, watching a demonstration, looking at an exhibit, watching a demonstration, watching a movie. So all of these are like 50% we remember the content. That is why in most cases, the videos are more interesting than reading a book, because a video is emotion. So we see several content moving along, and 50% of the content are expected to be remembered. And whenever we see a demonstration in a public place or in a closed environment, we tend to remember it over a long period of time. Majority of it we remember. And the next category is 30% of what we see, looking at pictures. So whenever we see a picture, we tend to remember around 30% of it. Next one is 20% of what we hear. So whenever we hear people speaking, and we hear to the professor, we hear to the staff in classrooms, in schools, in colleges, so we tend to remember only 20% of what we hear compared to what we see and what is being simulated and what is being spoken. And the last one is 10% of what we read. So that's why whatever we read, we tend to forget it very, very easily. We need to change the way we learn. So all of these is being calculated for 2 weeks of time period. So in 15 days, we are going to remember only 10% of what we read, and 20% of what we hear, 30% of what we see, 50% of what we hear and see, 70% of what we say, and 90% of what we say and do. The more we focus on what we say and do and what we say, so that almost contributes 90% and 70%. So we need to practice and do more real things, simulating things, and dramatic presentations. And we need to participate in discussions, we need to talk, we need to speak out, we need to give talks to our audiences, to groups of people, to teams. All these are active participations. The content, what we learn from these active participations, create a greater impact. They tend to be remembered more compared to the passive way. Let's focus on the active ways of involvement, keep learning forever. So from this video, going forward, I wanted to share a particular news along with the content that I'm sharing. We are going to talk about a news about Facebook. The CEO of the Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. So this news is about the Apple's iOS 14 operating system's new update. Facebook and its advertisers use a code that is linked to Apple devices, which is known as the identification code. But in the upcoming update of Apple iOS 14, it is said that the user has to opt for permission to share the information to the developers. If the user does not wish to disclose the information, he can opt out. This will restrict, or this will make the advertisers even more tougher to target the users who are using the Apple devices. In the recent statement, Mark Zuckerberg has said that he's confident that they're going to be able to manage through the situation. So after this, the stocks of Facebook has rose as much as 5.1%, which is the biggest one-day percentage gain since November. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching till the end. If you feel that more of us should watch video like this, please do like and share. Thanks and bye.